Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a punk boy inspired custom. But why punk? As someone who lives in London, I was always enchanted by the edgy look punk fashion emits. Historically, punk fashion was used as a form of rebellion to break out of the norm of society. This was heavily used as a protest through movements such as the anarchy movement. A keen factor about punk fashion is the use of different materials such as leather and tarred and print fabrics and grunge-like clothing, and also the heavy makeup. After doing some polls via Instagram to hear your guys' thought process and opinions, you guys broadcasted your love for punk fashion and how it can represent freedom. It was established that punk fashion usually is cooked with these type of ingredients such as a leather vest, leather hat, Dr. Martens and tartan pants. From this, I came up with concept art. I felt like the use of the phrase lowlife is pretty decent as it's overall reclaiming the thought process some people may have towards wearers of punk fashion. After this, I asked you guys to suggest some names for this guy. Two names that enchanted me was Lilac and Capius. The reason for Lilac is due to how funny it was. From the end, I did a poll, and the vast majority of you guys liked Capius, so his name is now Capius. Now let's get started. For the face-up, I tried to go for something both edgy but visually pleasing. From this, I highly thought of different things such as how intense I wanted the shadows from the inspiration I gathered. I wanted to go for a fully decked, aka I wanted thick black eyeshadow with the generic pastels I had. It was all about blending and layering. To get a condensed black shadow, this required roughly 2 to 3 layers. I went through a variety of pencils and shading techniques. I felt like blue eyes would look very interesting in comparison to the darker areas of eyes, as it would be a great juxtaposition in terms of light to dark. Going into flocking, sadly the red and black flocking I ordered didn't come in the mail. It was most likely lost during transit. This was very sad as I was hoping on using them, however I improvised. I personally have a love and hate relationship with flocking. This is due to the fact that most of the time, the flocking I add on my dolls become tacky from age or just fall off the doll. If any of you guys have any tips, I would really appreciate it. After painting the base with red and black paint, I went in with adding the flocking. I first added glue, then I added the flocking powder alongside some watered down acrylic paint. This was to allow it to blend with the original colours I wanted. The end result was very lackluster. Next time I'm totally going to make sure to have the resources planned out beforehand. to the outfit. I hand dyed the red fabric as I had some printed fabric on the side, and I wanted to try and use up resources whenever I can. I also produced this hand dyed print for the t-shirt. To produce the clothing, I went the typical, aka cutting out patterns one by one. All patterns you've seen in this video is produced by myself. I like to recycle old dull clothes that I don't plan on using and make them into patterns. As I continued onwards, I tried to be creative with a pattern that I owned. This was the initial pattern I used for the shirt. Now it's time to paint the hat. I had some leftover black leather paint I purchased, which overall worked well. This hat honestly only required one light coat using this paint. A fun fact about this hat is that it's from a doll that I found in the thrift store. I feel like it's good to use all the accessories that you can if they can work for your projects. The sewing has begun. To make the tartan portion of the trousers look more tartan-like, I decided to sew vertical black lines on the pants to allow it to be more tartan-like. I like how the contrast in fabric and stitching gave it a more modern look. With the black portion of the trousers, I added some scrap pieces of fabric. This was to give it a more rough look. The shirt was honestly the easiest part of the whole outfit, as I didn't have to hem the neckline or sleeves. I felt like a roughed up neckline would give it a punk and edgy feel. Now comes the interesting part, the leather jacket. As the faux leather I ordered didn't end up making it to my place, I decided to reuse some doll fabric. The original source of this vest was a Taeyong Batman doll's cape. As I continued onwards, I kind of winged the pattern. Practically, I came up with this makeshift pattern on the sewing machine. This was troublesome at first as it was easy to run into some errors, but as I continued, I was able to get the idea I implemented in my head out there. After I was done, I glued on some spikes to the leather jacket. As what is a punk without spikes? I made sure to also glue some extra beads and such to resemble pins. I first coated the section of the jacket with fabric glue, then went in with the spikes. Now finally he is complete and ready. I made sure to add his nose piercings at the end with some fabric glue and glitter beads I had. I really adore the end result. I love how the Dr. Martens I gave him worked well with the outfit. Looks like he's ready to start some trouble. Overall, everything tied in really well and Capius has a lot of character. Thanks again for watching the video. If you guys have any suggestions for videos, please make sure to share them in the comments. Anyway, love you all to the moon and back. Take care. Bye.